How can I tell if I'm beautiful? I mean in the purely superficial way that I know I shouldn't care about, but I do because I'm a person who exists in the world. In 1909, Maximilian Faktorowicz opened a beautification establishment in Los Angeles. Under the name Max Factor, he would become famous for his cosmetic products, which he sold as part of a pseudoscientific process of diagnosing abnormalities in people's, mostly women's, faces. He did this using a device he invented called the beauty micrometer, an elaborate hood of metallic bands held in place by an array of adjustable screws. The micrometer could be placed over a woman's head, and, as one of his ads at the time claimed, flaws almost invisible to the ordinary eye would become obvious. Then he could apply one of his makeup products, a term coined by Factor, to correct the flaw in this person. If, for instance, the subject's nose is slightly crooked, so slightly, in fact, that it escapes ordinary observation, the flaw is promptly detected by the instrument, and corrective makeup is applied by an experienced operator. Even if putting on a metal hood that could tell people exactly why they're not beautiful didn't seem wrong on infinite levels, there was also the problem that Factor's micrometer was contingent on an empirical definition of beauty. A device that tells people what's wrong with them is predicated on an understanding of what is right. Max Factor's approach is a textbook example of the sales tactic that is still so successful in selling body-improving products. Convince people there is a deficit in some concrete way, and then sell the antidote. In the case of facial symmetry, some evolutionary biologists do believe that we're attracted to symmetric faces because they might indicate health and thus reproductive viability. From a strict perspective of evolutionary biology, someone with a prominent growth spiraling out of the side of their eye, for instance, might be viewed as a maladaptive choice for a mate. Instincts warn us that this person may not survive through the gestation and child-rearing process, possibly not even through conception. Best to move on. But today, most people survive long enough to reproduce, and care not just for children, but grandchildren, great-grandchildren, even domesticated cats. We can afford to be less calculating about who to mate with. We can and do afford ourselves attraction not to some statistical standard of normalcy, but to novelty and anomaly. While Factor was convincing everyone that they were empirically inadequate based on a standard of normalcy that he created to sell products, the University of Michigan sociologist Charles Horton Cooley proposed a more nuanced approach called the looking-glass self. The idea was that we understand ourselves based not on some empirical idea of what is right or wrong about us, but from how others react to us. It's difficult to believe you're physically attractive when the world treats you otherwise, and vice versa. The thing that moves us to pride or shame, he wrote in 1922, is not the mere mechanical reflection of ourselves, but an imputed sentiment, the imagined effect of this reflection upon another's mind. Cooley repopularized the timeless idea that other people are not just part of our world, or even merely important to our understanding of ourselves. They are everything. Technically, there are individual humans, just as technically coral is a collection of trillions of tiny sessile polyps, each as wide as the head of a pin. Alone in the sea, the polyps would be nothing. Together, they are barrier reefs that sink ships. The idea of a looking-glass self could seem disempowering in that our understandings of ourselves are subject to perceptions of others. A less devastating way of thinking about a world of looking-glass people, I think, is the idea that everywhere we go, not only are we surrounded by mirrors, but we are mirrors ourselves. It's not the face in the Max Factor machine that matters, but the way that face is received. We can't always choose our mirrors, but we can choose the kind of mirrors we will be. A kind mirror, or a malevolent mirror, or anything in between.